If you can take away one thing for your health and fitness on lockdown, let it be this: sort out your sleep schedule. I've said it before and I'll say it again, sleep is a completely underrated tool for your mental and physical performance and health. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that with no work to get up for the next day, they're going to be staying up till early hours of the morning watching Netflix, and they're not going to be getting up till afternoon the following day. Not only is this going to be a ball ache to reverse once you do go back to work, it's also going to throw your circadian rhythm all out of sync, but I'll touch more on that in a moment. If you're one of these people that doesn't sleep at least 7 hours a night, then I hope this video can help you change your ways. See, a couple of weeks back I was suffering really bad with toothache, to the point where I didn't sleep for 3 nights in a row. Let me just say, I wasn't the same person. I was moody, I couldn't think straight. Thankfully, now the tooth is out and I'm starting to feel a lot more like myself. And that's what's inspired me to do this video. Alright, so first I'm going to touch on the science of sleep. So how do we sleep? Well, during our waking hours when the brain's working to full capacity, there's a byproduct that builds up called adenosine. And the more adenosine that builds up, the more tired that we feel. In fact, that's how caffeine works. Caffeine attaches to the adenosine receptors in the brain, which essentially stops us feeling tired. Another thing at play helping send us to sleep is our circadian rhythm. Now our circadian rhythm is what's often referred to as our body clock. And even though all of our individual organs have their own circadian rhythm, there is a master clock located in the hypothalamus in a region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And what happens there is it releases different hormones throughout the day to help cope with the demands that are put on our body. But more to the topic of sleep, a hormone named melatonin is released as nighttime approaches to induce feelings of sleepiness. So as we fall asleep, we go through different stages of sleep. The first is called rapid eye movement, often referred to as REM sleep. And it's called that because our eyes are frantically moving underneath our eyelids. This is the part of sleep where dreaming occurs. The other stages are 1 through 4 of non-rapid eye movement sleep. This is a really deep sleep where our body's almost paralysed. During the night's sleep, we cycle between non-REM and REM stages of sleep every 90 minutes, with non-REM dominating early proceedings but REM pulling it back later in the night. Each stage of sleep is equally important as each other. There is a quote that I love by one of the world's leading experts in sleep research, Dr. Matthew Walker, that sums up just how important sleep is. He says, "There doesn't seem to be one major organ within the body or process in the brain that isn't optimally enhanced by sleep or detrimentally impaired when we don't get enough." You see, sleep is crucial for both mental and physical optimal health and performance. Firstly, the shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. See, sleep has been shown to play a role in all of the world's leading causes of death. One of the things affected by short sleeping is the cardiovascular system, meaning unhealthy sleep equals an unhealthy heart. There's a 45% increased risk of developing coronary heart disease when failing to get at least 7 hours sleep. Another thing that's affected by sleep is your waistline, meaning the less you sleep, the more you eat, which could cause problems potentially leading to obesity and diabetes. So in the case of diabetes, we have insulin, which is a hormone that's pumped out by the pancreas, and it's kind of like a gatekeeper to the cells. So it opens the cells up so that when we digest food, it's broken down into glucose and it can be stored in the muscle or the tissue. Insulin opens up the cells of the muscle and tissue so that we can store it in there as energy. However, cells become around 40% less responsive to insulin when sleep deprived, meaning an increase in circulating blood glucose, which can eventually lead to diabetes. In the case of obesity, studies have shown when sleep deprived we eat around 300 calories more a day. Over the course of a year, that's around an extra 70,000 calories, which could lead to gaining around a stone in extra weight. There are 2 hormones at play when it comes to regulating appetite. The first of which is leptin. Leptin is secreted by the fat cells and it tells the body that we're full, we don't need to eat anymore. The second of which is ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. This signals to the body that it's time to eat, that we're low on energy and we need food. So one of the reasons we eat an extra 300 calories a day could be because there is a low concentration of leptin in the blood and a high concentration of ghrelin, making us feel hungrier even when we've had a usually filling meal. Another reason could be there is also an increase in circulating endocannabinoids, which have a similar effect on the body as cannabis, including the renowned effect of the munchies. Studies also noted that not only is there a change in how much we eat, but also a change in the types of food we eat, seeking more sweeter and saltier foods by around 30 to 40%. Very relevant right now is the topic of our immune system. A study showed our system gave 50% less of a reaction to a flu shot when sleep restricted, meaning our immune system becomes less effective at fighting viruses. And in addition, sleeping less than 6 hours has been associated with a 40% increased risk of developing cancer, mainly due to the decreased action of killer cell activity. And even the World Health Organization has recognised shift work as a probable carcinogen. Sleep has also been shown to better physical performance, improving motor skills for sports such as tennis, rowing, football and basketball, at all levels too, from junior to elite. A study was conducted in basketball comparing players who had more than 8 hours sleep with players who had less than 8 hours sleep, and they found in the players that had more sleep a 29% increase in points per minute, and the group that had less sleep a 37% increase in turnovers and 45% increase in fouls committed. In addition to affecting our skill levels, lack of sleep also affects our fitness levels, with sleeping less than 6 hours being shown to drop the time from physical exertion between 10 and 30%, decrease in limb extension force, decrease in peak muscle strength, also a faster lactic acid buildup, and referencing the basketball study from earlier, those who had more sleep also had a 12% increase in minutes played. And in addition, the chance of injury significantly increases the less sleep you have, from roughly an 18% chance after 9 hours sleep versus a 72% chance of injury after just 6 hours sleep. Mental performance is also impaired, with a greater than 400% increase in missed responses and lapses in concentration when comparing 8 hours of sleep with no sleep. What's worse is it doesn't matter if it's 1 night of no sleep or 4 nights of just 6 hours sleep, the same result occurs, and it progressively gets worse with more disrupted sleep. This is evident too when we consider the correlation between sleep loss and car crashes. With when sleeping less than 4 hours, there's 11.5 times more probable event of a crash. Getting too little sleep across your adult life also significantly increases the chances of developing Alzheimer's disease. See, when we sleep, our glymphatic system produces something called cerebral spinal fluid, which washes away all the byproducts that are created. If we don't sleep enough, then something called beta amyloid plaque can build up, which causes neuron death and can lead to Alzheimer's. There is also no major psychiatric condition in which sleep is normal. This is true for depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. To say that sleep is the cause of all these problems is a little bit misleading, but can certainly be a contributing factor. However, what we do know for sure is that when sleep deprived, there is an over 60% amplification in the part of the brain called the amygdala, which is primary for emotional response and can induce feelings of anger and rage. Lastly, and perhaps worst of all, is that when these sleep deprivation studies were conducted, the researchers interviewed the participants and found that they were terrible predictors of just how sleep deprived they actually were. They found that over time an individual can acclimatise to a lack of sleep, meaning their brain and body settle for suboptimal health and performance, meaning that individual never truly reaches their full potential. Alright, now for the time that you've all probably been waiting for, how to get the best sleep. Well, first and foremost, adults need at least 7 to 9 hours sleep. Children usually need a lot more, but for adults it's 7 to 9. Now, in addition to sleep quantity, we also want a good sleep quality, meaning we want to be going to bed at a similar time each night. This is going to allow our circadian rhythm to operate effectively and release that melatonin at roughly the same time each night, allowing us to go to sleep. If you have trouble falling asleep at night, there are a few things you can do to help. See, when we first fall asleep, our core body temperature drops. Now, you can speed up this process by getting a hot bath or shower just before bed. See, the blood rushes to the skin, and as a result, our core body temperature drops. If you don't want to get a hot shower or bath before bed, another way that you can do this is by cooling your room before you get into bed. See, what happens is that the blood will rush to your skin in order to try and keep you warm and effectively dropping your core temperature. You might also want to try participating in daily physical activity, which is going to burn off any extra energy and also promote a sleep hormone produced by the muscles. You also might want to avoid certain substances. See, as I mentioned earlier, caffeine blocks the adenosine receptors and therefore leaves us feeling more alert and more awake. You don't want this to happen, so I'd definitely recommend cutting off your last cup of coffee around the 2 p.m. mark. Another substance you want to avoid if you want to get a good night's sleep is alcohol. See, contrary to what people used to believe with the famous nightcap, alcohol doesn't actually promote good sleep. It resembles more sedation than naturalistic sleep, and therefore you don't get all the health benefits that comes with sleep. And lastly, what you also want to do to get a good night's sleep is avoid blue light. See, blue light, which is obviously registered through the eyes, promotes a hormone called melanopsin, which is the opposite of melatonin. It promotes wakefulness as opposed to sleepiness. So you want to avoid blue light emitted through TVs, computer screens and phone screens too close to night. A way you can get your iPhone to stop emitting blue light is by going to Settings, Display and Brightness, Night Shift, and then I have it scheduled from sunset to sunrise so it's in sync with our natural circadian rhythm. You'll be able to also do this on Android phones and some computers as well. Or you can try purchasing blue light blocking glasses, like these ones here. Especially if you're watching TV late at night, these can help block the blue light that's emitted from the television. One last thing worth mentioning is, during times like these, such as on lockdown, you may not want to spend all day in your bedroom. From a psychological perspective, if you're associating your bedroom with times of being awake, then it may make it more difficult to get to sleep in there on a night. Alright, so I think I've just about covered everything. I tried to make it as brief as possible for easy viewing, but if you have any questions, drop it in the comments section. If not, subscribe to the channel, please follow on Instagram and like on Facebook. I'll see you in the next one.